Welcome to the Fourth and Short podcast, the breakdown of the hottest topics on the Schuylkill League sports scene, with your hosts, Eli Doyle and Leroy Boyer.
All right, welcome to the Fourth and Short podcast on T102sportsnow.com. I am Eli Doyle. Leroy Boyer is nowhere to be found. He's on assignment right now, serving his local community. You know this guy. Matt Freiler, Matty Fresh is here with us. What's up, Bot?
What's going on, Bot? I had to rep the Titan Threads.
Yeah,
Presenting sponsor.
I was going to say, where'd you get that hat? But that'd be a dumb question. I need to get one of those hats, is what I need to say.
Had the meet and greet a couple days ago with the fam at Titan Threads. Everybody came through, picked up their merch. It was a great time meeting everybody, and then just had a full day of shooting the new SKOOK State of Mind remix.
Wow.
There's a video hopefully to come before the end of this year, right?
So we're going to get into it here.
Yeah.
Me and you do a lot of talking during football season here. You know how excited I am for that video. I'm very excited. I've been excited since I found out, maybe 3 days before you released it. Yeah. I kind of got the inside word from the man himself and Mr. Hepler of T102 that it was coming. So that was pretty cool. It was pretty cool to know. I mean, granted, you guys knew months in advance, you know. So SKOOK State of Mind, the 10th anniversary remix, right? I had to make sure I get that right. So, and we're going to jump into all that, but, first just, how are you doing? I feel like we don't get enough, kind of like behind the scenes. Everybody hears you come on the radio, come off the radio for Friday nights with Pottsville, but how are you doing? Just what are you up to? How's life?
Yeah, it's been great. Obviously, we're Penn State football season ticket holders, so that's been the Saturdays. Friday nights, obviously you've heard me doing Pottsville games, and it's kind of cool seeing my tenure at Pottsville start with Mike Brennan. So kind of getting a fresh start there, and my broadcast partner Corey Mabry has been awesome to work with. He is just a encyclopedia of ball knowing.
Yeah.
Very few guys in the area who could cut it up like Corey when it comes to talking ball. So
yeah, absolutely.
He's been very helpful. Obviously, John Kirby as well, working with him. So it's been awesome. And then using my free time to just create. I mean, that's what it's all about, right? Trying to write more music, possibly gear up for. What are we doing here? Penn State's going to take us places. Got to start thinking ahead.
Yes, sir.
Playoffs, potential. I mean, I'm not going to tease anything yet, but, of course, Big Ten championship on the line, playoffs on the line. Thinking about what are some ideas that could get the fan base going. And then, obviously, during all that, the priority right now has been the SKOOK State of Mind remix and getting this video shot, which, I got the crew with me, my director from 10 years ago, Ryan Spence. Same cinematographer as 10 years ago, Jackson Kitchell. Same editor from 10 years ago, Brian Kissick, who's now out in LA. So we got the band back together for this, awesome. At least most of us. And we are able to do so much more this time because we're kind of going quality over quantity. Last time we had, it was let's get everybody in it. Let's go everywhere. Now it's we are spending a lot of time on set, and we are it's almost like a movie, Eli, where we're really taking our time to focus on it like it was a movie set and spending hours and hours at these places. We were out in Pine Grove, spent hours. We would never have done that before. Yeah. We were oh my God, we're so rushed. 15 minutes and you're mapping out where to go before the sun sets. Yeah. Now we have way more time and the equipment's better that we have and everybody got better at what they do. And I'm blessed to be surrounded by them. And listen, this video is going to make history. Listen, it's worth the wait, I promise. I know it's been you say it's 10-year anniversary. Can it get out by the end of the year? That's why I put the song out, because I'm I want to take time on the video. It's worth the wait, trust me. I promise we got your town in there. I promise there's going to be dozens of things that you relate to in that video. And I didn't try to outdo the original, but I think we accidentally did.
I can't wait. I'm so excited. I can't tell you enough how excited I am. Let's talk about your music a little bit, though. We talked about, obviously, the 10th anniversary remix here. How about the original? So let's go back 10 years. Okay, 10 years ago, I was a 14-year-old 8th grader in the DHH Langle Middle School in Pottsville. Where were you 10 years ago?
Great time to be alive, right?
Where were you 10 years ago?
I had just graduated from Blue Mountain, and I was at Shippensburg. For my first semester. I had turned, I think, 18 on my first day of college, so I was a little young. And I wasn't ready for school, so I was adjusting to Shippensburg, and I kind of missed home. And I was I I wrote a lot, and I was in the back of my algebra class kind of scribbling notes down. And, I just felt them more and more every day. Like what I was writing became more about home. And I didn't think I wanted to admit it because there's that stigma where it's like, oh, if you don't get out of Schuylkill County, what did you do with your life? And I thought that too, because that's how we were raised. It's like, well, we're from a small town, coal cracker area. Like, if you want to be successful, you got to get out of here. Mm-hmm. And that's what everyone tells you in high school. And then it's like, wait, let's pump the brakes. I experienced a little bit of that, and then I was like, I miss it. Yeah. I miss it here, and not just like the social aspects of being here, but the professional aspects too.
Yeah.
And missing being here at the station. So yeah, I was at Shippensburg, and I was writing SKOOK State of Mind, and it all came to be, and now here we are, 10 years later with the remix.
So here's the thing though. So most people can sit down and like I've been doing it now. Now here I have this podcast and I'm on other shows and stuff. I remember, I sat down in college and tried to do some stuff on my own. But what was it for you that really pushed you from just writing it to, hey, we're going to do it. Hey, we're going to put this video together. Hey, we're going to upload it to Bandcamp. And I'm like a day one Bandcamp where I still have the original app. I'm still going.
Bandcamp is the place to be. And I saw, Eli, that you were the first one to download the remix on Bandcamp.
That's awesome.
We got some downloads after you, but the first name that popped, I get an email for every single one.
Yeah.
It's been the same email for 10 years.
Yeah.
It tells you, who bought your stuff or who donated. And it popped up right away. So I appreciate it. Because Bandcamp, obviously with it being a remix, that our hands are tied with Spotify and stuff.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, but to kind of answer your question, I think I've always had sort of that entertainer in me. I think it's just like my personality and who I've been, and I've just always liked entertaining people, whether that be through sports or comedy or music or whatever. So it was kind of natural. We did the video on the webcam right after I wrote it. Uploaded that, and obviously low production, low quality. Kind of reminded me of something you'd see on TikTok now.
Absolutely.
And it's like, it's funny because 10 years ago people expected better than that. Mm-hmm. But it's like, as long as it was on Facebook and like you didn't upload that to YouTube, it was a good starting point. Mm-hmm. So I kind of test the waters on Facebook, and it just blew up so much, and I was like, this needs to be everywhere. This needs to be on YouTube. I need to go to St. Clair, hop in the recording studio at Thorium Productions with my boy Paul Trapal. I needed to be, promoting everything about like creating this Matty Fresh character that I always kind of thought I'd become, but then this is what I started taking seriously. And it was really just the reaction that we got. And then I immediately hit the ground running. It was like, need to start connecting with camera people, need to start talking to managers, need to start booking shows. And it all came at once. And I took a trip to Florida literally right after SKOOK State of Mind dropped, because I was considering transferring from Shippensburg to UCF.
Okay.
So I thought Orlando was amazing, and I'd been there, and I was like, this is such a massive campus. And I took a tour down there, and I was like, well, this isn't for me. And it kind of reinforced that, like, I'll just always be a coal cracker. And I came back home and ended up, back at Penn State where I belong. So
that's awesome. Yeah. So you touched on Penn State there. I think most people know SKOOK State of Mind. I tell you on the side, you've inspired a generation, and with that comes people sometimes like hating success just because they can hate. To which I always turn around and I'm like, why? I don't get that. I think it's an awesome song. I'm glad the radio station He102 promotes it. I think like I said, you inspire a generation. But you mentioned Penn State there. You have other songs. I think some people just associate Matty Fresh with SKOOK State of Mind. You have other songs. One of them that went tremendously viral was on ESPN, was all over your TikTok apps, Instagrams, all that. Trace McSorley, former quarterback of the Penn State Lions. So walk me through that song a little bit. Throw it on a dime.
Yeah, gotta throw it on a dime. It's kind of funny because we were just talking before we started rolling. There's actually just a book that got published called Men in White. And it's all about 2012 to 2016, and it's a kind of an oral history of what happened. It's a phenomenal book by Chris Raymond. Go check it out. And he called me back in March of 2021. And it's funny because that was really the first conversation I had with somebody about like the question you just asked me. Mm-hmm. Like, how did this all come about? When we first dropped Trace McSorley, nobody asked me any questions. It was just like, it was a cool little fan anthem. And it was like, people kind of knew what I was doing because I had the Saquon Barkley song before that. I had to hook up with the Music Man in Beaver Stadium. He was my professor, PJ Mullen. So we got both songs played in the stadium. So it was like a local hero thing, right? And that was fine for me because that's really at that point, Trace was, people knew him in State College and maybe not so much outside of State College. So it took 2 years, and obviously Trace left. I left. We both graduated, both moved on with our lives, and I just got bombarded one day. Woke up and there was 4,000 videos on TikTok.
That was my next question. Did you ever put it on TikTok or Instagram or anything like that?
I didn't have the app, Eli. I was always old school Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and even some Snapchat. And man, I didn't even have this app. I didn't know what this was about. This was pretty early pandemic. And, somebody's like, I'm like trying to open the videos. I can't open them. I'm like, it's not letting me see them. So the amount of research that I had to do to even find out how I was going up was embarrassing. Dude, I felt so out of touch. But it goes to show you, man, like you literally can try everything. You could promote your content. You could have these genius ideas, and those are great. But really what makes your stuff popular is out of your control because these crazy things happen. And maybe you can encourage it and try to pour a little gas on the fire. But this 13-year-old kid's just playing Madden.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there thinking, I have no idea what's going on. These kids are just playing Madden with Trace. And he's like a third-string quarterback on the Ravens at this point, about to go on to Wednesday night football against the Steelers. And I'm thinking, well, wouldn't this be something if he played?
Yeah.
And then Lamar Jackson gets hurt. RG3 comes out with a cramp. And here's Trace McSorley on national television on a standalone game on Wednesday night in Pittsburgh. And he comes in the game. And this is after the TikTok trend, where it was only about, here's a cool third-string quarterback.
Yeah.
Now he's starting.
Yeah.
And now he throws an 80-yard touchdown pass. So now the NFL is calling.
Yes.
Now Fox is calling. CBS is calling. All the social media people are calling. Trying to figure out who this kid from Schuylkill County is and how the hell this thing took 2 years to blow up. And I just gave, at the time, I was so overwhelmed with it, I gave all the credit to Trace. And I think he still deserves it because that moment, I was just along for the ride. Without that 80-yard touchdown pass, without him coming in that game, and they didn't end up winning, but he almost led them back, that it really took it to the next level where that trend maybe had some shelf life. Where you see a trend for a couple weeks, it gets old.
Yeah.
The fact that he came in the game right after that and threw the touchdown made people believe that trend is what inspired him to do so. Obviously, that wasn't what it was.
No, not
Trace
at all.
didn't have TikTok either.
Yeah.
He was in the team meeting rooms and they're like John Harbaugh's pulling it up and being like, this is your new teammate. Everybody welcome Trace. Trace is sitting in the back. He tells me of the meeting room. Hood up, tied up like this, just hiding. And 4 minutes of the video are going by. Lamar's in there and all the vets that are on the Ravens are in there. And he's just letting it play.
Yeah.
And so to think, Trace is very humble, so obviously he didn't want the attention. But to think that something that we did in a dorm room, made its way to the Baltimore Ravens facility, I just saying that still shocks me, and that was the coolest ride of my life to be able to do all that.
So you're one of the biggest Penn Staters I know. Tell me about, you talk about Trace. Tell me, have you had any other cool interactions?
Yeah, so we bumped into James Franklin one time on Beaver Avenue. He was taking a little walk around campus, and yeah, he was cool with it. James, with him on the song, he always was like, I love it, but I don't want to put all the pressure on one player. So that's why when they were in school, and I think Saquon kind of took this mentality on too. It was he didn't want to share it on his page or anything to draw too much attention to one player. And obviously if you're a college coach,
absolutely.
You have to do that. But it kind of took on a life of its own to where James appreciated it and he respected it and he knew it and he'd let us know. So that was cool. I think the coolest one I ever had was, shout out Chaz Hepler and Ed Benashunas for this opportunity, by the way. 2017, before Trace even comes out, I put the Saquon song out, and a couple days later, it just so happens it's media day. And I get credentialed through T102 to go up to Penn State Media Day. And that's a dream come true for me. We're walking in, and I'm with Benashunas, and I don't think Chaz was with that day, but I'm with Ed. And the doctor and I are walking in, and I'm just shaking, nervous. And he's like, "Don't worry, I'll ask the questions. You just kind of shadow me, and if you feel like comfortable to ask a question." So we go up to the running backs, and obviously they're all in their position groups in the stadium. And we go up to the running backs, and the doctor goes, "This is Matty Fresh. He just put the safety." And I'm thinking, you just told me 10 yards downfield to just hang out, be cool. And then here's Matty Fresh. You guys know him. Introducing me to Miles Sanders and Mark Allen and Rob, and Saquon's getting mobbed at the other end of the field by reporters. But like all the backup running backs are like dragging me over.
Who went on to have pretty good careers in their own right.
They're dragging me over like, Saquon, you got to meet this kid. And I'm looking back, and the doctor is smiling like, I'm like, here we go.
That was a pretty kick butt.
They literally dragged me over to Saquon.
Yeah.
All the reporters are like, what is going on? Miles pulls a song up on his phone, starts playing it, singing it. They're like, yo, this is the guy. And Saquon is just like, okay, hold on, let me finish this interview. Because he's very humble, distracted. So he gets done with the interview, and then he comes over, takes a picture with me. He tells me he loved the song. And he had actually DM'd me before that and told me he liked it. So I knew it was on his radar. But just like that face-to-face interaction of being able to like take a pic with him, shake his hand, and him be like, yo, I really love the song. That was the coolest thing ever happened to me.
That is a pretty kick butt like story to have in your pocket to say that like sweet. Miles Sanders and the other running backs like drug you to say
all thanks to the doctor had better shooters.
And that was also a pretty kick butt doctor impression there.
But you see how this works out. Like we started at the beginning. If SKOOK State of Mind doesn't happen, I don't get an internship here.
Absolutely.
If I don't get an internship here, I never meet Chaz and Ed and all the wonderful people here. If I never meet them, I never get the opportunity to go up and have them playing my song in front of Saquon Barkley. If I never do that, I never have the opportunity to write McSorley and then go viral. Yeah. So like literally everything is a journey. And like, I always think of it as those aren't stepping stones. Those are the moments that like make it special. So those are some of the greatest times of my life, and man, what a time to be alive. That was great.
So speaking of the journey, okay, so we have SKOOK State of Mind. We have all the Penn State stuff, which shout out you'll be going up there this weekend with all the chaos of game days and presidential candidates and whatever.
I'm trying to leave here at 5 a.m. on Saturday morning, so.
Yikes. We get through that. And now you're kind of back here. We talked about Full Circle, 10th anniversary remix coming out. Dropping that. Just what has the reaction really been?
I think what I'm the most surprised about is like you talking about, when the original came out, I was a 14-year-old kid in DHH Lingle. And I always thought that SKOOK State of Mind, like the original, would be timeless. And because there was kind of those aspects of it that would forever be timeless. But I guess I didn't think it would resonate the way it did with the kids now.
And it's not just kids. It's not just kids.
Right.
I mean, everybody.
We still have the same, right. Like all those people that loved it 10 years ago came back. But like, I think the most shocking thing, Eli, is the people who go the craziest about the remix are the ones who were probably 5 years old when it came out. So,
a little older.
Like the kids that are high schoolers now.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, how do they stand the test of time? So I think that's the coolest thing about it is just it doesn't matter like what age you are. If you're from Schuylkill County, you want to show people that because it represents who you are and where you're from. And it's kind of evolved over the last 10 years. Where when I wrote it, it was a lot of satire, and now this time it's a love letter with satire. Mm-hmm. So I think my perspective changed where. 10 years ago, like I said, I was caught in the rat race where it was like, okay, go to a great college, get a degree, get as far away from Schuylkill County as possible, and then come home on holidays and then hang out on the night before Thanksgiving at the DLP with everybody who comes back into town. That's what I thought my life was going to be. Mm-hmm. And then I missed it and missed it even more. And then through meeting more people around here through the song, now, 10 years later, it truly is to the point where I will drive around in my car writing music about this place that you will never hear because I don't want to make 10 different SKOOK State of Minds, but like there's so much about this area to talk about. And like sometimes I'll just drive around and freestyle and like I'll look around and be like, I'm truly grateful to be a small town kid living here and for all the high school kids out there, listen, your journey is going to take you far, wherever it takes you, but don't ever be afraid to talk about where you're from and show people SKOOK State of Mind. They might not get it at first, but like the feedback that I've gotten, a lot of people that like are college roommates, I'll pull it up, be like, yeah, this is where I'm from. They get a good laugh out of it too.
I went to Bloomsburg, and I actually had people being like, "Oh, you're from where that song, right?" Yeah. And I won't eat up all your time here on the song. I just want to know one thing between the original and the remix. Is there one kind of one-liner in there that you like more than any other one?
That is so tough.
Or maybe a couple.
There's a line in the remix that really kind of hit home. The one about, trying to think of it on the fly here. I said, I moved to State College and my mom used to call me saying she just got Kabasi and Kovalonics was busy.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people might not get that because it's
it.
like a personal story. But yeah, like what we just talked about. I moved and I missed State College and then I missed home. So I was kind of had like a second home. Every time I was back here, I was like, can't wait to get back up to State. And then when I was at State, I was like, well, there's things about home that I'm missing out on right now, like the fresh kabasi. So, yeah, I think that just like a little like memory of my mom calling me and being like, hey, like, wish you were here for Easter. We're having kabasi. And I'm like, well, I got to find a way to get some kabasi up here at State College. But yeah, just the little ones like that. And obviously, like, all the songs, like all the lyrics mean a lot to me, but that one is like one that stands out as like a personal anecdote about my life.
Do you want to know how that resonates?
Yeah.
Same thing, except only my grandmother would make me drive her to Shenandoah to get the kielbasa. I didn't have to go in. I just had to. I was in charge of pulling right up to Kovalonics because she didn't want to park. Drop her off, circle the block once, and hopefully she'd be out if there was no line.
So Braden Fosh and
I. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, so you know about this.
Yes.
This guy took way too long to eat kabasi. Now I've heard he has. He's tried it now. So
our intern here at T102.
By the way, we have a surprise coming with Mr. Braden.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
You're gonna enjoy.
He's a great kid.
You're gonna enjoy this video.
Oh, I can't wait. I'm excited. So just to kind of take us to the modern day now too, with the song, you are also the play-by-play announcer for the Pottsville Crimson Tide on WPPA. How did we get there? Yeah. I mean, we know you were an intern here,
right?
But how did we get to this point now where you are basically the voice of the Crimson Tide?
All credit to Chaz Hepler, my mentor forever, taught me everything I know about broadcasting, and obviously I've had a lot of help along the way at Penn State as well. But I mean, I was a junior in high school when Chaz started learning teaching me the ropes. And yeah, I just remember doing an interview here after the original dropped, and then I was just looking for maybe an opportunity around here, and Chaz went to bat for me because they didn't really understand at the time because I was a rapper, and
I understand.
I was a young kid, and it's like, how does that cross over to sports? But Chaz went to bat for me. He's like, no, he's just creative. You got to look at it that way. So he was the one who convinced everybody here that I don't have to just be Matty Fresh. Like I can be Matt Freiler as well.
Yeah. And
he gave me kind of belief in myself to do that. Now 10 years later, he gives me a call in the off season, and he's like, "How would you like to be the voice of the Pottsville Crimson Tide?" And I almost teared up because it's just like that's what I've been working for here, and he always tells me that obviously they've got the game of the week on the FM, but the golden throne of the Pottsville Broadcasting Company is that seat. And it's such an honor, to hear that from Chaz, who did it for many years, and all the great broadcasters before him. So, yeah, I mean, this is something that Pottsville football has been on our airwaves for 78 years. And to think about all the great moments and the history of Pottsville football all the way back to Bill Flynn and all the great moments that WPPA has covered and how much this station means to Pottsville football, it's a big responsibility. And, you don't want the pressure, but you got to be careful, about honoring traditions. And I want to make sure that people know that even though I'm a Blue Mountain alum, I respect Pottsville's tradition and I embrace it. And I'm, through doing more games with Corey and John, who, obviously they're both Pottsville alum, teaching me the ropes about how it is to be a Tide. And Coach Brennan as well was the coach for all 4 years when I was at Blue Mountain, so a little bit of familiarity there. Tyler Harnrath, their offensive coordinator, was the quarterback when I was a freshman in high school. So a lot of familiar faces around Pottsville, and I think it's just I give a lot of credit to Chaz believing in me and going to bat for me and always being a phone call away if I ever had questions when I was up at Penn State, and that eventually led to this, and I couldn't be more happy doing it.
Walk me through a little bit of the experience this year. We're in week 11, I guess you could call it, going to the first round of the district playoffs. Pottsville, good rebuilding program here. They finished 5-5 in the regular season. I believe they're a 5 seed in the District 11 Class 4A playoff bracket. Going to Allentown this week. I'll be down there with you. Just tell me about some of the experiences this year that you've had.
Yeah. Well, I think my favorite experience has been you doing stats at halftime.
Relax.
Listen, this guy pulled double duty. He had to do sideline reporting for WPPA and write the story for T102sportsnow.com. Now, luckily, he had some help. Yeah.
Shout out Josh Linsky. Shout out Pine Grove area golf coach Josh Linsky.
He was awesome that night. But, it just, like I said, back to kind of like working with Corey has been my favorite thing ever. I think Corey and I have got to know each other. Obviously, he was a teacher of mine back in school, and you kind of have that teacher-student relationship where you know each other, but you never really get to know somebody until you're on the road broadcasting games. So I think that's the coolest part about our business, right? We know of everybody around here because it's such a small town, but when they work here, you get to know them.
Yeah, absolutely.
You really do. So that's been cool. But just from a program standpoint, they got the right man for the job. Mike Brennan has, this team back in the playoffs. I think after 2 years in a row of not being there, he's got them back. He's got them winning big-time games like Blue Mountain. He's got them playing a really tough schedule. Week 1 we were at Shamokin thinking, Shamokin, typical. I mean, they're going to be a little bit better. There's some hype around Shamokin, but certainly they're not going to go 10-0 and beat Mount Carmel, right? Well, there you go. Now Shamokin, one of the top teams in the state, and that was a game that Pottsville had to go through in non-league. Show me a stronger non-league game than that for Pottsville. So they don't get enough credit. This has been an extremely tough schedule playing in this division. I mean, Tamako was on fire early. They lost a game. Pottsville lost a game they shouldn't have. They should be 6-4. But they also won a game they were having the underdogs in.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that came right back around. And the regular season didn't end the way they wanted. But now a chance to rebound in the playoffs. And ACC's a little down. I'm sure you guys broke that one down already. And we'll have the call. But, it seems to me like Pottsville is headed in the right direction. And this sophomore class. Like the juniors are great as well. But, man, this sophomore class could be special.
Could be.
And Andrew Allen leads that sophomore class, and guys like Max Clues and Shea Strinkoski, and you're thinking, well, these are young kids that are some of the best players on this team. And, if I get to stick around and I don't get canceled, I would love to come back and do another season of Pottsville football.
Absolutely. And as a Pottsville alum, not just a coworker here, as a Pottsville alum, I love what you're doing. I tell it to the powers that be here all the time. I think you are the perfect guy. Chaz, good pick on his part. You are the perfect guy for that job. I'm going to send a quick little message here directly to Mrs. Hummel and Mr. Yost, the Pottsville administration in the high school, the cheerleaders, Coach Brennan, whoever gets the pick. I used to be pretty, how do we want to say this, well known when it came for Pottsville football pep rallies. I think you're missing a golden opportunity here. You have a big-time Schuylkill County celebrity calling your games every week. I think you're missing a perfect opportunity here for maybe an outside kind of hype-up spirit stick opportunity if Mr. Freiler or Mr. Fresh, whatever he decides to show up as that day, if he would decide to do so, being a Blue Mountain alum, I can understand if he did not want to do that.
Well, I'll do you one better. I've had a few opportunities at some other places to do just what you said, and I've held out for this reason. I'm waiting, Pottsville. One call away.
Mrs. Hummel.
Your players would love to see it.
Mrs. Hummel, Mr. Yost, Coach Brennan.
Call me.
Get it done. Get it done here. I want to see that video. There, schools have their pep rallies and they're always.
Let's do it in Mart's Hall. Why not?
We'll
sell it out.
I'm coming to that, man. I'm coming to that too. We're gonna wrap our interview up here with the man, Matty Fresh. Here on 4th and Short, T102sportsnow.com. you can stick around for the second half of this show. Leroy will be back. We'll break down some analysis from Week 10, first round of the playoffs. But listen, I've said this to you before the show. You got to come back. We got to have you back. Because you're more than just the songs, and you're more than just the Pottsville voice. You get this area. You get the sports in this area. Not just football. I think you get everything. So, we got to have you back on. Look for Mr. Fresh to be a reoccurring face around these parts.
Yeah, and I got to say, with my debut on 4th and Short, this was a lot of fun. And Eli, I think what you're doing is incredible. And I think you and I kind of have a lot of the same influences, right? I think we watch a lot of Pat McAfee. We watch a lot of Pardon My Take.
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of got the youth movement going on here. I'm 29. He's a lot younger than me.
I'll be 25 in a week.
I think we're still the two youngest people here.
Yeah, a little bit. It's a little disparaging sometimes.
We would like to get Chad Sepler to watch some more Pat McAfee and Pardon My Take, because he's got the fastest 3 minutes in football, Schuylkill County football going. He's doing press conference style interviews at Minersville, thinking outside the box. And listen, we get it. This is a radio station, right? And there are traditions that need to be followed, and there are things that will always be tried and true here at good old WPPA. But to have Eli here has been a way for everybody to start thinking outside the box. Hey, we got a podcast now, right?
Yeah, right.
I'm on Spotify today, and I'm like, I got the feed up. I'm subscribed, and we can only go up from here. Year 1 of T102sportsnow.com and all kinds of content. Multimedia, I think, is the key, right?
Yeah, multimedia.
It's not just radio.
I've coined myself the multimedia editor around here. Leroy,
Jack
of course.
of all trades, master of none.
yes, master of none. Of course, and I can't say enough about how good of a job he's doing this year at everything. He's come in. Matt has come into media day, filmed some little videos for us that ended up being fantastic. Can't say enough good things about them. You've done everything, Chaz. I see from radio intros for, the TT102 boys, to just calling the games. We can't thank you enough.
Almost not everything. I almost had to say no when he asked me to go to Factoryville. I will take objection to that. But I said yes.
I'm going with you.
Because I love the Nativity Green Wave and Coach Pat Mason. I want to see them pull out a win. But
I love them too.
This will be my farthest trip I ever took. I think actually... Well, it's about the same distance, as Philly when you really think about it. So it'll be a great trip. But man, that was the one where I was like, wow.
I'll put a good word.
I'm going to be out of my element.
I'm going to talk to Coach Mason tomorrow. I'm going to talk to the Nativity boys. We'll put a good word in for you. They will be excited to know that Matty Fresh is coming.
I'm doing it for them.
Hey guys, yeah, absolutely the same. So stick around for the second half of 4th and Short.
Welcome back to the T102sportsnow.com's weekly podcast, 4th and Short. This is Eli Doyle. I'm Leroy Boyer. It's nice that I could make it here for the second half of our show today.
Yeah, right.
Great interview with Matt Fresh, the voice of Pottsville football and WPPA. He's done a great job as the first year in that role. Great interview. Glad we could have him on.
Yeah, excited to see what else we can find a role for him to do, because he's so invested in everything we're doing and all about the kids and the coverage and all that. So I in my opinion, pressure's on us to get him involved.
Yeah,
more.
he's a star. We need to make sure he stays here. Hey, let's get talking high school football. We are at week 11, Eli. Week 11 already. Felt like we just started this venture and the season just kicked off, and now we're into playoffs. Playoffs. Let's go over the Week 10 scores first, and then we'll talk playoffs, and we'll talk about some things that happened in Week 10 that got us to Week 11. So the scores from Week 10, North Schuylkill defeats Pottsville 36-0. Blue Mountain 21, Tamaqua 7. Lehighton 42, Jim Thorpe 26. It was Northwestern Lehigh getting by Southern Lehigh 23-17. In the white division, Palmerton over Catasauqua 28-13. Saucon Valley handles Northern Lehigh 49-14. Palisades defeats Salisbury 40-0. On Saturday in the white division, Bangor beat Penn Argyl 14-13. And Notre Dame Green Pond over Wilson area 52-11. In the black and blue division, it was Marion 21, Nativity 18. We'll talk about that game momentarily. Minersville blanks Panther Valley 43-0. Schuylkill Haven all over Tri-Valley 66-16. It was Mono area 42, Shenandoah Valley 13. 12th straight year the Golden Bears win the D'Amato Semitovich Gold Star Trophy. Williams Valley beats Pine Grove 56-13. Obviously, the game that sticks out there in Week 10 is Marion over Nativity. The upset of the week puts the Colts in the District 2/11 Class A sub-regional field. dumps the Green Wave to 4th, forces them to go to Lackawanna Trail in the semifinals. Nativity gets banged up. They got some kids hurt. Marion has momentum for the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely, Leroy. I think you nailed it on the head. Marion came out. It's funny because both teams kind of did similar things late in the game, right? Both teams kind of went into a wildcat formation, their tailbacks taking the snap from their centers. And it just so happened that Marion had the firepower. They had the will. They made it happen. They executed it, and they won the game. Shook up some things for us in terms of playoffs. Leroy did a great job of kind of going over it there. For the Marion Colts, huge win. A lot of momentum going into this playoff game. They'll be away at Tri-Valley. We'll talk about that momentarily. But yeah, for the Marion Colts, Leroy will elaborate a little bit more on that, how they got to that, some of the faces, some of the names.
Yeah, Tyler Price was the star. Freshman running back steps in, takes over, and we all have heard of Rory Dixon from Marion, 1,000-yard rusher. Marion's really struggled at quarterback. Dylan Rodino has been the guy, but not the high-powered passing attack that Marion's had over the last couple of years. And they put Price in there, and he engineered a drive late in the game. Marion scores 3 touchdowns. Nativity scores 3 touchdowns. The conversions are all good for Marion. They win 21-18. So where does that get us? We go to Week 10, okay? Week 10, Single A will be Friday night. Nativity makes the long trek to Lackawanna Trail. Nativity is 4. Lackawanna Trail is 1. 3 District 11 teams out of the 6 make it. So now it's a basic tournament format. Lackawanna Trail is the District 2 champ. Whichever is the last standing team. So if Nativity would lose the Lackawanna Trail, the winner of the Marion Tri-Valley game would be the District 11 champ. Marion, the 3, leapfrogs over Nativity with the win. I think Marion still would have gotten in if they had lost to Nativity, because Old Forge, who was battling with Marion for that last spot, they lost. So Marion would have gotten in, I think, but we won't know that. Marion would have been 4, though, if Nativity had won, and Nativity would be at home against Tri-Valley. Now Nativity's on the road. Lackawanna Trail is really good. Last year, waffled Minersville 40-0 in the first round of the state playoffs. Pretty much a lot of that team is back for them. They're 9-1. Their only loss was to Western Wayne in Week 2. Last week they beat Riverside, previously undefeated Riverside, a AA powerhouse school from the Scranton area, 42-20. So tough road ahead for Nativity. Let's talk about them first. T102sportsnow.com is going to have blanket coverage of the playoffs. Eli and I will be busy people Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And let's see, Thursday you're going to Pottsville's game, yep. And then you're going to go to Nativity's game on Saturday. Friday, and then Saturday, where are you Saturday?
Minersville.
At Minersville. I will be at Blue Mountain on Thursday, trekking to Green Pond with North Schuylkill on Friday, and then I'll be at Schuylkill Haven on the radio as the sideline guy on Saturday night. So the 3 games for each of us. We'll have every game covered, even including the Eastern Conference game involving Tamaqua. So you'll be able to read about it, get videos, live updates. The scoreboard ticker will be working. So complete coverage of the playoffs, District 11 and Eastern Conference, here on T102sportsnow.com. The other game in that Single A sub-regional, Marion at Tri-Valley. Rematch of Week 2. Tri-Valley shut Marion down, won 24-0 at Higgins. Marion's a little bit different team. Tri-Valley's a little bit different team from Week 2 to now. Your thoughts on Tri-Valley? They've lost 2 games by lopsided scores coming in.
It's going to be interesting to see if Tri-Valley can reignite that spark, right? That drive that they had at the beginning of the year that made them one of our better teams in the area. Of course, before dropping their last 2 here in not fantastic fashion. So it's going to be interesting to see what they can do at home against a team like Marion with all the momentum in the world right now. Everything they could have asked for happened in Week 10. I think, when it comes down to it, I think a lot of this game can be won and lost off of adjustments. Marion made the adjustment they need to. Head coach Billy O'Gork talked to us on the Sports Saturday show about how they held that option, Wildcat offense in their back pocket as long as they could. They brought it out. He felt like it was perfectly timed. It'll be interesting to see what team can adjust more for me.
I think Marion Tri-Valley comes down to the kids in the trenches. It comes to kids up front. Marion has more experience there. They have some bigger kids. Your Aiden Milkoviches, kids like that have been veterans of the wars, who have been in backfields, from the defensive side, have made their presence felt. Charlie Howard, linebacker for Marion. Ryan Colahan, linebacker from Tri-Valley, was all over the place in the game. I saw them. I think whichever team can control the line of scrimmage and be able to do what they want to do, which means they're able to run the football on offense and stifle the run on defense, I think that's a team that wins that game. Let's go over the entire playoff schedule. We kind of jumped ahead a little bit and went right to single A, but Thursday night is the 4A quarterfinals. Number 8, Jim Thorpe at number 1, Southern Lehigh. Number 7, Lehighton at number 2, Blue Mountain. Number 6, East Stroudsburg North is at Bethlehem Catholic. That's the game not involving any of our teams. And then Pottsville is the 5. They are at ACC number 4. On Friday, we talked about the Class A playoffs. AAA is also on Friday. Saucon Valley is number 4. They're at number 1, Northwestern Lehigh. And North Schuylkill is number 3. They travel to number 2, Notre Dame Green Pond. Also on Friday night, Eastern Conference Class 3A championship game, Pequea Valley at Tamaqua. On Saturday, all these games on Saturday will be 6 o'clock starts. It's SAT testing day Saturday, so you really can't have anything during the morning or early afternoon that kids will miss it. So Schuylkill Haven, they're the number 1 seed in AA. They will play host to number 8 Palisades. Williams Valley is number 2. They will host number 7 Monterey area. Northern Lehigh was 3. They'll host Penn Argyl. And Minersville is the number 4 seed. They will host Executive Education. We will have 6 games on the Pottsville Broadcasting Radio Network. Remember, all the broadcasts from the radio games you can get to on T102sportsnow.com. In the upper right-hand corner, just click on the radio station icon. It'll take you to that live broadcast of the game. Thursday on WPPA, it's Pottsville and Allentown Central Catholic. On T102, it's Lehighton at Blue Mountain. On Friday on WPPA, Nativity at Lackawanna Trail. And then on T102 on Friday, it's North Schuylkill at Notre Dame Green Pond. Saturday on WPPA, it's Palisades at Schuylkill Haven. And then on T102, Executive Education at Minersville. Let's talk 4A, since that's on Thursday. Pottsville, things just really didn't go their way. It was a rough night for the Crimson Tide up in Fountain Springs against North Schuylkill. Cyrell Curry, arguably their best player, gets ejected for an illegal hit. He can't play now against ACC. A couple other kids get banged up. Short week, a relatively young team with a lot of seniors who are good leaders, but have never really been in this situation before. A lot to overcome in a short amount of time for the Crimson Tide to get ready for a road playoff game.
Yeah. Taking that all in, I think, the Crimson Tide have to think that the odds are certainly stacked against them here. I think that's just anybody in their right mind probably would feel that way. With that being said, it's all about how you face that, right? It's all about how you execute. If the Crimson Tide comes out and plays a flawless game, there's certainly a chance they come away with a victory and move on to the next round. There is that looming feeling, though, that there is this mountain to climb, right? That they can't beat an Allentown school now and arguably their best player, like you said, with a mishmash of seniors that have never really made it this far and some inexperienced sophomores and a mix of juniors in there. So with that being said, I think the Tide have certainly proved us wrong at points this year, right? Just reference the Clash 61 game a few weeks ago. Pottsville will have to play a flawless game in order to advance to the next round.
For Crimson Tide, it's all about believing. A lot of energy in that program, a lot of excitement in the program as the season has built up. You have to believe in yourselves. You have to make the concerted effort during the week of practice to do the best you can and learn as much as you can and be as skilled in everything you have to do. Know your roles, know how to do them, and be in the right place at the right time. If Pottsville can control the line of scrimmage and run the football at Juju Bainbridge, they have a shot. If they're not able to run the ball, this is an ACC team that's 4-6, coming off a 35-0 loss to a 4-6 Whitehall team. This isn't the ACC teams that have really dominated it in District 11 playoff action. It's an average team, yet they've played a gigantically rough schedule. The Emmaus's, the Parklands of the world that are all real good. And it's a brutal schedule. They lost to Bethlehem Catholic, who's in the 4A field as well. So we'll see. But Pottsville is going to need a really tough effort. Blue Mountain at home as the number 2 seed. They play a Lehighton team that in week 7, they defeated 55-14. Blue Mountain then went on to lose 2 straight games to North Schuylkill and Pottsville before really using a big second half to beat Tamaqua. I think Blue Mountain found themselves late, somewhere right around halftime, early second half. They switched quarterbacks. Cohen Kirby, the freshman, is in as quarterback. Looked really good early. Hit his first 4 passes, then threw an ill-advised interception that was a great play by the linebacker from Tamaqua, but struggled the rest of the first half. Came out in the second half. Blue Mountain's line kind of took over. Tyler Staley took over. Had some big runs, some special teams help, and then the young defensive kids really stepped up. Reese Miller gets hurt. One of the top linebackers in our area makes the first tackle of the game, and I was at the game, covering the game for T102sportsnow.com. I'm not sure exactly when he got hurt, but it was early. By halftime, he was in street clothes. But Brody Foose, Chase Gears, both youngsters with older brothers on the team, step up and make big plays. Brody Foose was in the backfield all night long. Chase Gears had a big interception late in the game. And then you have guys like Gage Gears, senior leaders that stepped up. So Blue Mountain got a lot of momentum, got their little swagger back. They got some mojo. They need to carry it in. It's been over 10 years since Blue Mountains won a District 11 playoff game. This might be the right time to end that drought.
What's that, Leroy? He said Blue Mountain. I think I got my swagger back.
Yeah.
I'm not sold yet. And, I've been barking up this Blue Mountain tree all year long. But the losses, it's not just the losses. It's the way they played in the loss to Blue Mountain and to Pottsville. To get held scoreless at times, it just put a sense of, okay, maybe this team isn't as good as we thought. I do think Blue Mountain comes away with a victory in this game. Absolutely. We just filmed touchdown tips earlier. I already picked them on the show. But there is that looming feeling that, Blue Mountain the Eagles cannot come out and say that they're underestimating Lehighton and they're looking forward to the next round. Lehighton is a team that's had its ups and downs this year. The last thing you want if you're Blue Mountain is for Lehighton to have a big night that night, and you make little mistakes, you give up maybe ill-advised turnovers or commit a lot of penalties or something, and have Lehighton take advantage of that.
Turnovers are the great equalizer. In that first meeting, Blue Mountain got 2 right off the bat, converted them into touchdowns, was up big early, and it just kind of snowballed for Lehighton from there. I saw Lehighton against Pottsville. They looked awesome in the first half. Then they went and beat Tamaqua, and then they got hammered by Blue Mountain and hammered by North Schuylkill. So, last week they beat Jim Thorpe 42-26. They can score some points. So it'll be interesting to see, Blue Mountain has to play off the energy of a home playoff game, the mojo from last week, and kind of convert that into, like we said with Pottsville, come out, execute, do the things you're supposed to do, and win football game.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting to see for the 4A bracket. Let's talk North Schuylkill. On Friday, the Spartans travel to Green Pond. There's actually a green pond there. I took the back way into the school because I was running behind, and you go by this thing, it says Green Pond. I'm serious. Almost ended up in the Green Pond because the road kind of curves right there. It was really scary, actually.
Take a drive out to Pine Grove. You'll see about 7 Green Ponds.
But, week 3, I was there. North Schuylkill, walk-off touchdown. Wins 31-29. In a competitive game that went back and forth. North Schuylkill is a much different team than week 3. Sure, North Schuylkill is 7-3. They're one of the hottest teams right now. They won 4 games in a row by putting up a lot of points. The key for North Schuylkill is they've gotten other people involved. It was the Caden Mangle, Luke Miller show for a while. Now you have Michael Mogish playing a big role. You got Landon Smith playing a big role. You got some younger kids on defense stepping up, in addition to the big linemen that they have. And they've kind of reasserted themselves, those big linemen, in the last couple weeks. So we'll see how this plays out. Green Pond has not been a great place for North Schuylkill over the years traditionally. North Schuylkill has controlled this rivalry of late. they've owned Notre Dame a little bit, but playoff games down there on that grass field with the bagpiper walking in and just not a great looking place. It's grass field, needs a definite overhaul, but Notre Dame has the ability to put points on the board. North Schuylkill cannot make turnovers. I've seen probably 3 or 4 North Schuylkill Notre Dame games on that field, and every time North Schuylkill has lost, they've thrown ill-advised interceptions or they fumbled the ball at the wrong time. You cannot do that in this game on Friday, or North Schuylkill is going to come home with an L instead of a W.
Yeah, I think you nailed one, Leroy. I think North Schuylkill's on a roll right now. I think they have all the momentum they want. I think they have all the momentum they need. I think the Spartans are looking to make another statement this week and take a big leap over Green Pond. I'm not too worried about North Schuylkill on the road. I think Coach Hall does a great job of getting them ready to play on the road at all times. So for me, it's just, do the little things right. I've gotten to see North Schuylkill from the beginning of the year, from the very first game of the year, midway point, and their last regular season game. They're totally a different team at all 3 stages. I think they're peaking at the right time exactly, and as long as they keep playing at a high level, and that secondary keeps feeding off of whatever it is that they're feeding off of, the energy of the crowd, the defensive line getting to the quarterback, whatever it is, that secondary has taken a big step up, and that could be the great equalizer for them against Green Pond.
The AA bracket is a Saturday night. To be clear for you fans wondering, hey, when are these teams going to play? The 4A bracket will also be Thursday in the second round. So Blue Mountain and Pottsville win on Thursday. They're going to be playing next Thursday. So mark that on your calendars. The same with the AA bracket. They're going to be Saturday night this week and then Saturday, November 9th next week. So whether or not those games are during the day or in the evening will be determined by District 11. There'll be semifinals, so there'll be 2 games, and we won't know exactly what times, but we'll let you know when we know. This week, Schuylkill Haven's on a roll right now. 9 straight games, average 52.9 points per game. They've scored absolutely tons of points in flash and fury, quickly. They've been pretty much, except for the Nativity game, unstoppable since the loss to Blue Mountain. Williams Valley was a close game. Minersville was a close game, but they scored 72 and 38 in those games. Palisades comes in off of a 40-0 win over Salisbury last week. These teams did not play during the regular season this year, but they did play the past 2 years. In 2022, Palisades defeated Schuylkill Haven 49-14. That was a really good Palisades team. Last year, Schuylkill Haven won in a game early in the season, 14-7. It was kind of one of those building block games where Haven used that as a stepping stone to better things later in the year. What do you see on this game?
I see a lot of Schuylkill Haven. You said they're on a roll, Leroy, earlier. I think that's kind of an understatement. I think you need to spread a little butter on the Hurricanes, fry them up nice, and then put them on the roll. I just don't foresee at this point and this Palisades team stopping that 3-headed monster, Garcia, Castillo, Reber, in the backfield. And then added in this passing game of late, our boy Braden Foshnot and his big target Layden Hurts. I think as long as the Hurricanes, don't run into any speed bumps, keep doing their thing, head down, ground and pound, use the ball through the air when they need to, keep playing good defense, keep tackling, I foresee no problems with the Hurricanes sinking the pirate ship this week.
I think the same thing when we go to our next game. Williams Valley has been hot as well. Since that loss to Schuylkill Haven, they have just dominated every opponent that they've played over the last 4 or 5 weeks. They play a mono area team that they played in week 2. Williams Valley 48, mono area 6. That was a mono area team that was still kind of trying to figure things out. New offense, new head coach. By week 5, when they beat Marion, that was kind of when they kind of started to figure everything out. Williams Valley, Steven Stedesi has done a great job. Brady Schompers had a big year. We've talked a lot about the Vikings. Fletcher Thompson, Kean Kruzanowski, whose name I'm sorry, I mess it up every time. He's one of the top receivers in the area. You hear a lot about Curry You hear a lot about Dalvin, but Keenan's had a great year out there in the Vikings offense. In between the Pines, take 2 for the Bears and the Vikes.
Yeah. I think you hit the nail on the head when you said the Monoy is another one of these teams that's kind of grown this year and progressed as the year's gone on. Now, if they won, and I'm no coach, so let's get that clear. If the Golden Bears, bear down, if the Golden Bears won any chance of stopping this high-powered Williams Valley team, what they'll have to do is kind of play like Schuylkill Haven football to an extent. Control the clock, control the ball, score at will, keep it on the ground, and play competent defense. You have to keep Williams Valley at 3rd and long because they're going to convert, it feels like, on 3rd and short every time you get to it. And that's even if you hold the 3rd down, right? You have to do all the little things right. You have to play competent defense. If you're Monoy, if you want any type of shot in slowing down the Vikings. With that being said, I don't foresee that happening. The Vikings will be looking to move on next round.
Shout out to Kyler Quick, this week's Finelli, Evans, and Patel, T102sportsnow.com Athlete of the Week, 250-some yards rushing and 3 touchdowns, I believe, in the Bears win over Shenandoah Valley on Friday. Congratulations to him. Great kid. You can see his interview live on the website. It's right there at the top with the Finelli, Evans, and Patel logo to the side. The other game in AA is like the mystery game, right? We all know about Minersville. Dante Carr is Dante Carr, superstar quarterback, still the phenom. Was the athlete of the week, perhaps the greatest athlete of the week interview, by the way.
Relax.
We need to shout out.
Matt talked about it earlier.
Listen, I love that. Easton Schultz, great question. Love, wearing the belt. Why don't you give me the ball? I was breaking down laughing when I saw that. So we all know about Minersville. Minersville's red hot. Minersville is, clicking on all cylinders. We don't know anything about executive ed. Nobody does. They're like the mystery team. You called them a ghost on the T102 on the TD Tip Show.
Happy Halloween.
Yeah, happy Halloween. The ghost has arrived. Honestly, that might be the best description of this team. We do a great job here in Schuylkill County with our website and the other media in the area as well, promoting our kids and our teams. A lot of coaches in a lot of sports say that their kids get the greatest notoriety, promotion, coverage from the media in our area in every sport, and it helps them when it comes to trying to get college recognition. Executive education does none of that. They're not really covered by the newspaper. They don't put any information out on their teams. There's no stats on Max Preps, no videos, no photos. The roster, we're not really sure if it's right. We're trying to get lineups from them for the radio game. Can't get stats. Nobody really knows anything about this team. And that makes it difficult if you're Justin Franz.
Yeah, well, it also makes it difficult from our end too. They must not teach, marketing in CEO 101 class at Executive Ed.
You would think marketing would be a class.
You would think. One would think. Who knows? Who knows what the curriculum is down that way? Everybody comes out of school as a CEO. Shout out Chaz Hepler. But no, if you're Justin Franz and the Battling Miners, I think the best thing you could do, get as much tape as you can, obviously, from games they've played this year. And, just keep doing what you do, right? Keep doing those little things right. Get Dante the availability and space to run when he needs to. Get those receivers open in space. Funnel in Easton Schultz when you need to. On defense, AJ Halford, we've talked about.
He's having a big year, AJ Halford.
Here and there, linebacker. Get that defense going early. Make sure they're making tackles. Make sure they're wrapping up. I think the other thing is, if you do start going down the rabbit hole digging of executives football team, you find penalty after penalty in stories that you can put together here, and extracurricular nonsense, for lack of a better term. If you're Minersville, you can't buy into any of that. You absolutely cannot buy into any of that. You can't get caught doing that. The old adage, it's not the first person that does it, it's the second person gets caught, right? So, don't buy into any of those little things. Just play your game.
2 years ago, Executive Ed was in a similar situation, came up to Williams Valley and kind of shocked the world, beat the Vikings 22-20, a game Williams Valley had a chance to win and couldn't late in the game. Executive Ed went on to win the District 11 championship and win a couple of games in the state playoffs, made some noise. It was kind of like a Cinderella story. Last year, they played Schuylkill Haven in the first round and lost 71-12. So which team are we going to get? We don't really know. Executive Ed 5-4-1. They tied a game. Not really sure if you can still do that in the PIAA. The game ended a little bit under some strange circumstances.
You could do your own research.
Yes, wasn't pleasant. Wasn't called because of darkness or rain delay or anything like that. Their wins, they have one kind of signature win over a really good winning team. They beat AA Bristol, who was 7-1, 48-19. Their other wins are over Palisades, 2-8 Central Columbia, 0-10 Wyoming Valley West, and 2-8 New Hope Soulberry. They have played some competitive teams. Berks Catholic, they lost to them 22-18. Simon Gratz, who is a 7-3 AAA school, they lost to them 44-28. Conwell Egan, another AAA school who's 6-3, lost to them 24-6. And then they lost to a single A team, Belmont Charter, who's only 3-5. They are lost to them 28-20. So they've been competitive in games. They must have talent, but we don't really know too much about them. And you talked a lot about Minersville. I think Minersville just come out and be Minersville. Just do the things that they've done the last 4 weeks and been successful. Keep Dante clean. Let Dante do Dante things. Get open if you're Peyton LaPointe and Logan Hutsko. And then if you're on defense, tackle people. Be the physical team that you are, because when kids want to talk smack and they want to do the extracurriculars, they stop after you pound them into the ground a couple times. So if you're physical and you make the tackles and do the job you're supposed to do, that'll keep them quiet.
You hear that, Miners? Advice from Uncle Leroy over here. It's gonna be awfully funny. It's gonna be quite the Halloween surprise when they come out under center, those Executive Ed Raptors, and I pull my face mask helmet off like straight out of Scooby-Doo, and I'm playing quarterback. I still have some eligibility left, I think.
They could do that. You do kind of are employed at the Minersville School District.
I meant for Executive Ed. I meant for
Yeah. So there are a couple teams whose season has concluded. Of the 16 area teams, 13 of them made the playoffs. Tamaka was the only team that did not make the District 11 playoffs. Only 4 teams got in AAA. Tamaka was the 5th team. They will host Pequot Valley from the Lancaster Lebanon in the Eastern Conference Championship game. The Blue Raiders have a chance to win a championship game. That big senior class on its home field last game. So, yes, it's not the championship they wanted. It is a chance for them to go out with a feel-good kind of story.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you nailed it, Leroy. I think for them, for the Blue Raiders, it's all about, kind of that swan song, that kumbaya kind of coming together, right? Let's do this one last time. We have one last opportunity to do something here. Let's rejoice with it a little bit.
The 3 teams who did not make the postseason: Panther Valley, they finished 2-8. Pine Grove finishes 1-9, and Shenandoah Valley finishes 0-10. Each of them have different stories, different ailments that they had. For Panther Valley, scored only 66 points all year. So obviously refining the offense and making sure that scoring points becomes a priority next year. Pine Grove was the same way. Shenandoah Valley was a really young team with low numbers. The only advice I have for those 3 teams is start your season right now. Get those kids in the weight room. Build some interest, get bigger, stronger, faster. Yes, those kids are going to play some other sports. They're going to play winter sport and a spring sport. We hope they do. I encourage every kid to play more than one sport. But getting in the weight room and getting bigger and stronger is only going to help those 3 teams win some games next year.
Yeah, I think you nailed it, Leroy.
Hey, so once again, complete blanket coverage of the first weekend of the District 11 playoffs on T102sportsnow.com. Eli and I will be all over the eastern half of the state, Lehigh Valley, the Scranton area. You're going to Scranton. I'm going to Green Pond.
We'll put a challenge up. Anybody gets a picture of us and submits it to either of us somehow, we'll run it at the end of the next podcast.
There you go. So
challenge.
Where's Waldo?
Yeah, kind of thing.
I found Leroy. I found Eli. That's pretty funny.
And asterisk, if we get multiple, we'll go with the one that was the farthest game from Pottsville.
Yeah. So I'm going to Blue Mountain. going to Notre Dame Green Pond, and I'm going to be on the sidelines doing radio and video work at the Schuylkill Haven game. So I don't have to travel as far as you. I'm also covering soccer on Wednesday, and you're doing volleyball. So we're busy all over the place.
It'll be fun.
All 3 days of the playoffs, 2 games on the Pottsville Broadcasting Network. We'd be remiss to remind you of that. Once again, you can go on the website. So you're at the game, don't have a radio, right? Because nobody carries the boombox radios or has a radio anymore. Use your phone. Click on on our website. Little button at the top takes you right to the video to the radio game. Live stream it, blow it up, listen to it, listen to the golden tones of Chaz Hepler on T102.
He's not
Matty,
like that.
Matty Fresh on Matt Freiler on WPPA. Now Matty won't be there on Saturday. He will not be doing the Schuylkill Haven game because he'll be in State College watching Penn State hopefully beat Ohio State. But Ed and Benishus will be pinch hitting there. I'll be pinch hitting on the sidelines for John Kirby. So everything will be right with the world there on Saturday. So once again, T102sportsnow.com. This is the 4th and Short podcast. That's Eli Doyle. I'm Leroy Boyer. We'll be back with Week 12 championship games in some classes next week. We'll see you then.